Alright, so how do we heal family trauma? First of all, let's recognize that no matter how good your childhood was, no matter how great your upbringing, your parents fell short in some way or another. For some of us, it was maybe something not so extreme. For a lot of people, it was a very hectic and chaotic place to come from. Family is usually not synonyms with peace, joy, understanding, support, or love. So what do we do when, as we become older, as we're adults, we realize that we are carrying a lot of our unprocessed stuff, especially onto our relationships, right? Maybe a distrust for our mother projects itself onto our fear of the feminine, our incapacity to open up, to explore our emotions as men. Maybe a father that was not present, that abandoned you or abandoned your mother, expresses itself as a rejection of the masculine within you, which may look like a rejection of structure altogether. Having a hard time finishing projects that you start, having a hard time keeping up with discipline, with habits, with consistency and focus. Right? So what do we do about this? How do we heal, especially when the most probable option is that an apology is not going to come from mom or dad, or maybe they're already dead, or maybe what they did was so bad that we don't want to talk to them ever again, right? So what to do then? First, you got to separate the archetype from the person. Father and mother are an archetype, a sacred archetype, right? They are the bridges, they're the people who facilitate a body for you to come and live this experience, right? They're the people that are in charge and responsible for taking good care of you and help you solidify who you are in your first years of development. Now, the archetype has certain expectations that, at least in the world that we live today, are hard to meet for most parents. Most parents have children because they don't know what else to do with their life, because they feel that's the next step. A lot of times out of a mistake, a happy and joyful mistake. So it is rarely out of a very conscious choice of bringing another life into existence. And what happens is that nobody taught them. And chances are that their upbringing was quite troublesome, right? That their own parent, their own mother was either absent or violent or many other things, right? If you've talked with your parents, you may know. If you haven't, it's a good thing to ask. So there's the archetype of father or mother, and then there is the person. If I recognize that the person is most likely flawed and has a lot of good things, but also a lot of unhealed and processed unconscious stuff, I can start to have compassion and create an environment where I'm more likely to forgive them, right? If I hold them, however, against the ideal of the archetype of the perfect father, the perfect mother, the divine father, the divine mother, they're always going to fall short. And then I'm going to judge them because they were not enough for me, because they did not raise me in the perfect way. And although this is justifiable, right? Every parent should raise their kids with love and support and tender, loving care. Although we could agree on that, we need to face reality, understanding that our parent, your father or your mother, or perhaps both, are human beings that, like you, have a lot of positive traits and also a lot of ugly ones. That nobody in the world can give something that they don't have, whether that is money, love, attention, understanding, and that your parents gave you from whatever was in their bag, good and bad. If they had had more within them, they could have given you more, but they didn't. So when I separate the idea of a father from who my dad is as a man, I can have more compassion with him, because I extract the expectation I extract the pressure that I have assigned on him because he was my dad, right? Some of you may say, okay, Nico, so should we just tolerate everything they did wrong just because they're human? Well, it's not about tolerating. It's not about condoning, but it is also not about condemning. Here is about what is useful for you in your life, in your development. And what is useful, and this is after having worked with probably thousands of people at helping them heal this, is accepting. You cannot change the past, however, you can change how you relate to it, how you experience it. You cannot change the way in which you grew up, however, you can change the emotions that you carry about the upbringing that you had. And you cannot change your dad or your mom or what they did when you were younger, but you can transform the way in which you experience it. So you free yourself and you free them from that resentment, that hatred, that anger that may be within you. And that starts the moment that you can accept that they are also human, and as humans they had a lot of work to do. And the uglier they were, that meant the more pain they were feeling inside and didn't know how to process. Remember that pain that we don't want to heal is pain that we want others to feel. So the more pain that your parents inflicted upon you, whether emotional, verbal, or physical, stems from deep-rooted pain within them that they didn't know what to do about. And therefore, it's like the person whose finger is broken and everything they touch hurts. Oh, it hurts here, it hurts here, it hurts here. So then they realize that the world is painful. The world hurts, and then everything is to blame and to judge, without realizing that what hurts is the finger, right? A lot of parents did this. They got angry at you, but the anger had nothing to do with you. It was their explosion of repressed stuff. Where it comes from, why it happened, I think that's a topic for another video. But to start healing your relationship with your parents, separate the archetype. Understand that your parents only facilitated a body for you, but the life that you are was given to you by the Divine Father, the Divine Mother. You're a son of the sun, of the earth, of God. God is your Father. If you don't believe in God, then the principles of creation, the universe, the energy that goes underneath all of it, the energy, the creator of life, that is the energy that gave you life and love. And that energy has never left you alone. It's always been there ready to embrace and support you whenever you open the doors. So if you remember this, you realize, wow, I am a son of the sky, of the earth. Life was given to me by divinity. And the body was given to me by a couple of parents who didn't know better. And that's okay. You can forgive them, and you can forgive yourself for carrying the grudge, carrying the weight, for drinking the poison of the pressure, drinking the poison, as the saying goes, drinking it and expecting for somebody else to die. It's not useful, it's not gonna serve you, and above all, it doesn't free you. You're bound to repeat the same thing with your children if you don't forgive your parents. The things you don't heal with your family line are things that are gonna pass down to whoever comes after you. So separate the archetype from the human being. Have compassion, understand the human being as somebody with flaws, with qualities, and probably a lot of defects. And understand that your life was given to you by something greater. And the body was facilitated by somebody else. And that somebody, like you and I, was just human. And we can cut him and her some slack. For they knew and they did what they did. And if they had known better, they would have done better. As we all would have in certain moments of our life. Hope it was useful. Like, subscribe, share, comment in the video if you have questions that you want me to address in this Wisdom Shot series, and we'll talk soon.
Agradeciendo